Stocks clock some gains ahead of the RBI monetary policy later this week. IT, healthcare as well as realty clock strong gains today, while banks and consumer durables slip in trade.
Paytm founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma stitches a sweet deal to buy 10.3% of AIIMS stake in the company for return for optionally convertible debentures, ensuring the private investor retains its economic interest without depreciation risk. The move also strengthens the founder's grip on the fintech matter.
Mahindra and Mahindra CEO Anish Shah tells CNBC-TV18 that the EV arm could be spun off in 5 to 7 years' time, though a decision will be taken only then. He also clarifies that RBL Bank is a profitable investment play for the company that also offers industry insights.
And Britannia reports almost no growth in its volumes in the first quarter and indicates competitive pressures force price corrections. The stock feels the heat.
Ethos jumps on posting strong growth in sales and profits. Zen Technologies too gains after sales and profits multiply, but Aditya Birla Fashion slides on a cut in margins and Fortis Healthcare slips as its hospital's profitability shrinks. Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch this Monday afternoon. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me as always is my co-anchor Pavitra Parekh. So Pavitra, at the moment, markets in the green and in fact at close to the high point of the trading session, Nifty 50, but it's not giving a short direction also with so many central bank actions as well as global cues to really take note of. So ahead of the RBI policy this particular week, Nifty 50 at the moment trading lower than 19,600 levels, 0.3% up in trade at the moment. Let's take a look at Sensex as well, 185 points gain at the moment, and Bank Nifty, that is the one which is underperforming the key indices, 0.16% down. Mid-cap universe, that is in line with the key indices and is participating with a momentum, and that's what is also adding to the strength in terms of advance decline ratio being in favor of the advances. Mahindra and Mahindra is gaining in trade, is right now the highest Nifty gainer in terms of percentage, also because of the bullish commentary coming in about the prospects and many new developments. And on the other hand, when we look at some of the counters which are trading lower, some of the consumer discretionaries like Britannia, Nestle are some of the ones which are weak in trade today. Pavitra.
Oh, absolutely. Also important to track because Godrej Consumers' earnings are going to be in focus as well. We're waiting by for that. But for the market, there's been quite a recovery from the lows. The mid-cap index is up over 130 points from the low. So that's something definitely to keep a track of. I think today the action is really in these individual names, right? You have names like Paytm surging in trade. You have Zomato, which is seeing a follow-on move after the kind of, 7% rally that we got on Friday as well. And a lot of companies on the back of news flow. So whether it's an Ethos, Zen Technologies, all of these doing very well. So I'd watch out for those individual names. In addition, if you want to look at the sectoral move, it's really the Pharma pack which has it, 1.2% on the index, and a lot of the larger names, of course, those ones will come up for you, but also names like, some of the mid-cap names like Morpen doing very well in trade. So that's interesting to watch as well. On the downside as well, some earnings reactions, the likes of APL, BHEL, in addition to what we're seeing from the consumption pack. But let's talk about these, individual stocks that I was just mentioning. Paytm, like I was pointing out, has surged 7% on news that promoter Vijay Shekhar Sharma is set to buy 10.3% stake from AIIMS. Vijay Shekhar Sharma's holding in the company can now increase to 19.42% post the acquisition. So Abhishek is here to tell us about the deal because there is more than just the headline over here. Abhishek.
Well, it is what meets more than the eyes kind of a deal. So AIIMS will transfer about 6.5 crore shares to Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and this is about 10.3% of the share capital in Paytm. So Vijay Shekhar Sharma now, as per BSE release, holds about 9.12% stake, and with this transaction taking place, his holding in the company will increase to 19.42%. Now, Vijay Shekhar Sharma will purchase from AIIMS via 100% owned subsidiary entity, that is Resilient Asset Management BV. So this will be an off-market transaction. Anfield now holds about 23.8% in Paytm, and post this deal taking place, they will hold with a residual stake of about 13.5% in Paytm. So Resilient will issue optionally convertible debentures to Anfield. So Anfield's economic interest, that is about the stake, will be retained via this transaction. Back to you.
Abhishek, thanks a lot for getting us all of those details. In fact, we also spoke to Suresh Ganpati of Macquarie Capital Securities on his view on Paytm as well. So listen in to what he had to tell us.
We have been arguing, we upgraded the name in the past, I think 6 months ago. What we argued was that they have been surprising us very positively on the financial services business, which is the distribution of loan products. And that's where the cycle remains very strong. Their credit loss experiences on buy now, pay later products have been very comfortable. So I guess if this credit cycle continues for a longish period of time, you will continue to see these strong growth numbers. So if you look at the loan distribution business, it's been growing at 150% year on year. The day that starts slowing down materially, that's the time where Paytm, there would be an issue with respect to their ability to deliver that profitability track record that we are expecting at this point in time.
All right, so that's the view really coming in on Paytm and they buying out stake, the founder buying out stake from Antfin. But one must note that this is just an ownership and voting right which is getting transferred and not the economic interest. And generally, Pavitra, most of the founders do this in order to get more voting rights, even though not the economic interest, when they see probably to save themselves from a hostile takeover. So this could be that kind of a scenario because Paytm has been, buzzed around for being one of the targets as well. So let's see how this really pans out and what the management commentary is. But remember that Paytm rallies as Vijay Shekhar Sharma buys 10.3% stake from Antfin, and Zomato gains another 7% after reporting profits last week. So will the market's renewed love affair with the new age internet companies last this time around? We'll discuss more on all this and more on the special offering on YouTube, Who Moved the Market. So stay tuned to that at 2 p.m. today. All right, and let's also move on to some important market voices for the day. Morgan Stanley upgrades India to overweight. In a CNBC-TV18 exclusive, we spoke to Jonathan Garner, who's the Chief Asia and EM Equity Strategist at Morgan Stanley, to really discuss this in details. Listen in to what he has to say with respect to India as an emerging market.
For India, some of these secular drivers of the market are really falling into place. So it has moved up now, as you said, to number one in our ranking. And we think it's a time for foreign investors to re-engage with the market. Another key feature of India that we have been talking about in this note is the tendency of the rupee to be far more stable than in the past and to actually appreciate in real effective exchange rate terms versus the currency basket. India has this track record of compounding earnings now in dollars far faster than EM overall, and certainly than China. The market is not as expensive, particularly on a relative basis, as it was last October, when relative to Taiwan and Korea, it's probably the most expensive we've ever seen. It's clearly not at any kind of low valuation, but there are so many positives in the market right now that we suspect investors will be happy with the multiple. What matters in India's case for the call that we're making is things like the fiscal deficit, the way that interest rates are managed, whether or not foreign portfolio and FDI investment continues to be very strong. That's what we'll be monitoring. And at the moment, it's probably the best I've ever seen in over 2 decades covering India. So on the consumer side and on the industrials and financials, that's where we would concentrate the portfolio at the moment.
All right, that is Morgan Stanley with that very bullish call on India. But with that, we do need to get into a short break. When we come back, State Bank of India reports an operationally weak first quarter. So we're going to bring you excerpts from our conversation with SBI Chairman Dinesh Kumar Khara. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch. Now, State Bank of India reported a decline in domestic net interest margins, while the loan growth was also very disappointing. It came in at the weakest that we've seen in 7 quarters. So my colleague Ritu spoke to Chairman Dinesh Kumar Khara on asset quality concerns as well as the outlook for the bank. Listen in.
If you will compare the stress in the first quarter with the first quarter of the previous year, the stress has actually come down. And against that stress also, we have already affected the recoveries to the tune of more than 1,500 crores. It is all temporary cash flow disruptions, and which is attributed to multiple factors which we get to see on ground. There are floods, there are all kind of things which are happening. So these are some of the contributing reasons. But if I look at it, how much out of this stress, how much gets converted into NPA, that number is very small. It is somewhere around 500 odd crores only. So which means that a significant portion of this will get stressed. When it comes to retail in particular, we have to be very mindful in terms of the stickiness of the stress which we get to see. Fortunately for us, that's not the situation. I don't expect much of a challenge from the corporate book. Whatever little challenge I expect is from agri and SME to some extent.
Earlier, you told us that for the full year, the bank could see a credit growth of 14 to 16%. And you already have 3.5 trillion or so of loans in the pipeline. That will still not get you to the kind of figure that you're targeting. So where will this additional credit growth come from?
This 3.5 trillion is essentially into the corporate book only.
I see. Okay.
So when it comes to our retail book, our home loan sanctions are up to the extent of 15%.
Okay.
So actually, which is already at about 6.5 trillion plus.
Okay.
So we have got express credit is about 3 trillion.
Okay.
And actually our total retail book, pure play retail book is about 12 trillion. And that we are growing at more than 17% on a compounded annual growth rate for past 3 years. So I expect that this trend will continue. It can even improve.
All right, SBI stock under pressure today after the results, and it is dragging down Bank Nifty as well, which is now inching towards the flat line. Now moving on, a whole host of stocks, remember, are buzzing in trade today on the back of earnings, and there is a lot of stock-specific action on the back of those numbers. Surbi, my colleague, is right here to tell us more about that entire list which is impacting the stock. Surbi, what are the hits and misses in your list?
So let's start with BHEL. It was a miss. The revenues were up 7%, but the reported EBITDA loss, that has expanded to 242 crores versus 90 crores same time last year. And the net loss has now expanded to 350 odd crores versus 192 crores. Zentech, a stellar set of numbers. The revenue from operations have grown 256% at 132 crores versus just 37 crores. The PAT is up nearly 7 times, came in at 48 crores. The reported EBITDA, that is up 452%, came in at 72 crores, and the margins have inched up to 52% versus just 33% same time last year. Meghmani Finechem, it was a miss. The revenues were down nearly 15%. The EBITDA was down nearly 50%. Margins have contracted to 21% versus 35% same time last year. Balkrishna Industries, it was a mixed set. Revenues were down 17%, but the EBITDA was up 13%, and the margins have come in at 23% versus 17% same time last year. Ethos, it was a good set of numbers. The revenues were up 33%. The EBITDA was up 26%. The PAT is up 42%. And interestingly, the average selling price has gone up from 1.6 lakhs by the end of FY23 to nearly 1.77 lakhs. And lastly, Morpion Labs, the revenues were up 33%. The EBITDA has come in at 26 crores versus just 15 crores same time last year. And margins have expanded to 7% versus nearly 5% same time last year.
All right, Surbi, thanks a lot for getting us that entire list. By the way, lots of earnings are coming through. Ramco's on your screen is a 3% drop there. Complete top-down miss. You also had Alkyl Amines. I mean, it's the story of all chemical players, but massive margin contraction coming through there as well. So both of those stocks looking extremely weak in trade. But let's get into a short break on that note. There are lots of national news updates that we're tracking as well. So we'll be right back with that in 2 minutes.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch. A quick look at the market. It's getting fueled up at the moment with Nifty touching the high point of the trading session at the moment. Also, the push is coming in from banking counters. Some of them have seen some buying from the low point, and Bank Nifty has turned into the green, and also some of the auto counters are gaining. So keep an eye out on the market. But now time for some important national news of the day. Congress Rahul Gandhi was, remember, reinstated as Wayanad MP by the Lok Sabha Secretariat. Now this comes after the Supreme Court's relief in the 2019 Modi surname defamation case. The Secretariat issued a notification announcing that his disqualification has been revoked and that his membership has been restored. Rahul Gandhi reached Parliament hours after the Lok Sabha Secretariat cleared his return as MP in the lower house. He paid tribute at the Gandhi statue before attending the proceedings.
Okay, that's some important news that we're tracking on the political front. But some more important news that we have to bring you is that a massive fire has broken out in the endoscopy room of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi. That's at AIIMS. According to the latest updates, 8 fire tenders have been deployed at the site and the fire has been brought under control. There are no casualties which have been reported, and all of the patients and staff have been evacuated from the area. The cause of the fire is yet to be identified.
All right, so those are important news development. That's all we have on Business Lunch. Before we leave you for the day, here's something important, an important offering for our viewers. Network 18's Rising India Initiative, She Shakti Initiative, celebrates the power of womanhood and puts a spotlight on the remarkable journeys and achievements of women from all walks of life. Now, Mid-Cap Radar comes up next. Take a look and goodbye.
A 25-year-old woman is on a quest to disprove the popular notion that it is unsafe for women to travel alone in India. Meet Asha Malviya, a national-level mountaineer from Bhopal who's on a solo pan-India bicycle tour to raise awareness about women's safety and empowerment.
मेरे दिमाग में भी कहीं ना कहीं ये कॉन्सेप्ट था कि आज हमारे भारत देश की महिलाएं हैं जो कहीं ना कहीं भारत में होते हुए भी ये सोचती है कि हमें डर लग रहा है, हम सुरक्षित नहीं हैं। तो मुझे उसी डर को खत्म करना था, इसीलिए मैंने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया।
Having lost her father when she was only 3 years old, Asha Malviya did her post-graduation in physical education from Bhopal. She carries only 3 sets of clothing, some basic essentials and some dry fruits with her on her journey to create awareness. As a mountaineer, Asha Malviya has climbed several peaks. She has been cycling across India as part of her Sampoorn Bharat Yatra and has already travelled over 25,000 kilometers, covering at least 23 states.
डिफिकल्ट तो कुछ था नहीं, क्योंकि मैं हर प्रॉब्लम को कभी भी प्रॉब्लम के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं, एक चुनौती के अकॉर्डिंग देखती हूँ। अगर प्रॉब्लम को प्रॉब्लम के अकॉर्डिंग देखेंगे तो सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम ही दिखेंगी, फिर टारगेट नहीं दिखेगा। तो इसीलिए मुझे कुछ भी दिखता ही नहीं। पहले तो मेरा साइकिल वगैरह भी खराब हो जाता था, तो मैं उसे खुद रिपेयर वगैरह करती थी, कुछ पंचर वगैरह बनाती थी, तो वैसा चलता रहता।
Asha Malviya, who's peddling for women's empowerment, is a reflection of a rising India She Shakti. We at News 18 Network salute women of Bharat like Asha Malviya, who believe, "Main kar sakti hu."